just small, not really nearby, but yeah, obviously we are live right now. I'm in a different setting than I normally am. I am in the middle of Oklahoma in Broken Bow, which honestly, uh, how far away from Oklahoma City am I? Oh, I'm like 4 hours away from Oklahoma City. I'm like on the near the Arkansas Oklahoma border. So yeah, passed passed by some Choctaw casinos. Did not stop, unfortunately, because I'm with the fam. And the casinos over here are pretty small. Like there's one actually just somewhat down the road, and it's supposedly really tiny. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop into it. I wish I could say this was my crib, but not yet.
That
Not yet.
episode 30, Davidson
30.
30.
Yeah. It's like the average podcast never makes it past like episode like what 4 or 5 or something. So multiply that by 6.
For the sixth god.
Yeah, 6 God. Turn that 6 upside down to 9. Let's go ahead and hop into it. NBA Finals. We have a ton of stuff to go over. Spencer just reminded me we had Freedom 250 which to talk about, and I honestly kind of spaced out about that because I was kind of getting all ready for the World Cup and stuff, which is obviously starting tomorrow. Yeah, let's go ahead and hop into NBA Finals. I thought the Knicks were just gonna do their thing. I know Spurs are the Spurs, but Knicks at MSG, I thought they were gonna take care of business. Spencer texted me before. He's like, "Am I crazy to think that the Spurs could win this?" And I'm like, "Yes, you are." But you know, Spurs. I felt like the game played out exactly how all the other games played out. Spurs get to double-digit lead in the first quarter. We saw this 2 times before, so I wasn't really like worried about it at all. It's like, oh yeah, the Knicks are gonna come back, and let alone what happened. The Knicks came back and they took what a 7 point lead at half, and third quarter.
Beat them by 18 in the second quarter.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I thought after that maybe the Spurs could come back a little bit in the third quarter. Expected some sort of run, but they came in with the lead in the going into the fourth, and they held on to it. It got to the wire there for a little bit, but De'Aaron Fox hit a pretty clutch pull up to extend the lead to 6, I believe, or 5. Might have been 5.
Yeah, it was 5.
But then the Knicks didn't go away quietly. They just hit back-to-back threes, and it was just a little too late. Spurs hit their free throws, and game over. Spurs win 115 to 111 by 4 points. But back again at the Garden tonight, and I think the Knicks are going to bring their A game. Spurs got a lot of favorable calls. I mean, I will say the refs did let them play a ton over the course of the series, and definitely in that game 3. But I mean, you could say maybe I'm like trying to root for the Knicks or whatever. I like the way the Knicks are playing, and obviously I have my Knicks ticket, but definitely it did seem like a lot of calls were going San Antonio's way, which maybe it's a little bit of balancing act from games 1 and 2, but you kind of hate to see it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking back just to make sure we did do an NBA Finals preview last week because the finals started on Wednesday, I believe, if I'm looking at this correctly.
Yeah.
Yes, last Wednesday. And yeah, I mean, I'll eat crow in a sense that I've continuously doubted the Knicks and I've continuously been proven wrong. However, it's probably an extremely long shot, and that's putting it likely, but Spurs in 6 is still alive, although I'm probably
Did you bet that?
No, I didn't bet it, but when we were talking predictions, I know you kind of said you weren't sure, and then you eventually kind of put something light on Knicks to win the series. I thought you were crazy. Probably most of the world thought you were crazy, but I said Knicks and Spurs in 5 or 6, depending on if the Spurs held serve the first 2 games at home. I would have said Spurs in 5. They lost the first game, and I was like, all right, well, Spurs in 6, and then they went on to lose game 2. And yeah, it looked like the series was over. Like you said, Spurs bounced back Monday night with a little bit of help from the refs. I was at a baseball game, so I kind of was just watching on my phone, especially at the end. So you could probably speak more to the officiating. I did see some clips that had some Knicks fans a little irate, but yeah. Who do you like tonight, and are you still confident in your Knicks pick? And if so, and how many games?
Yeah. I think it's most likely going to be Knicks in 6. Just because they win tonight, they go up 3-1. They go back to San Antonio. San Antonio does its thing, takes the game to 3-2, back to MSG, and then Knicks close it out in Madison Square Garden. I think that's the most realistic thing that's probably going to happen. But I mean, the key, we saw it a little bit in the last game, and just because I watched most of it. But the key is just getting Wemby going early and getting him in the paint. Like, I keep on saying it every single time I watch a Spurs game. And granted, people keep on saying, "Oh, Wemby's gonna learn. Wemby's gonna learn." Like, what's a better time to learn than right now? It's just like when he plays on the perimeter. Sure, he makes a couple threes or whatever, but you beat them by putting Wemby and playing him on the perimeter versus him getting his butt in the freaking paint or even the elbow. Like, you don't even have to be backing down people and necessarily dunking the ball every single time, but just getting to the elbow. He needs to develop more of that KG Dirk style play where he just, or in KD style play, right? KD doesn't back his defenders down and like dunk on them, even though he has a big height disadvantage. Gets the ball, gets to his spot, the elbow, little pump fake, one dribble, maybe even no dribbles, just turn around, jump shot, and you can't stop it. So he needs to do more of that. But Wemby doesn't like to play like that, it seems like. So that's the key to what they really need to do: get him in the spots and have the offense flow through him. And then once they kind of double team and collapse, and then they kick out to the shooters. And I think that's where their guys thrive more so than the Knicks win when Wemby's being passive and he's just like driving the basket, just like throwing it out, not really trying to be aggressive.
For sure. I'd agree on a lot of those points. I know you mentioned De'Aaron Fox hitting that clutch shot to kind of somewhat put the game out of reach, although, like you said, the Knicks had made a couple crazy threes at the end to kind of make it interesting if Stephon Castle missed his free throws. But yeah, that was definitely a redemption shot for De'Aaron Fox because he kind of had the same look in game 2 to at least tie the game, and kind of put a capstone on that crazy fourth quarter comeback. And this time he came through. Box score doesn't really show that he had a great game. I think he shot like 4 for 15 or something pretty egregious, but he made the shot when it mattered. But yeah, I do subscribe, unfortunately, to Knicks in 6. I'd love for the Spurs to make it a series tonight, but my USD is probably going to go on Knicks minus 2.5. I think that the Garden's going to be even more pumping, especially because they got cheated out of their first finals game in 27 years.
Well, to be fair, I'm pretty sure Trump jinxed it, so Trump's not going to be there game 4. So I think the bad mojo is out. Stephen A was right.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was at a baseball game, so I was just following along. But I saw the first quarter. I was watching on my phone. They were looking good. And I was like, yeah, Spurs got it. And then I checked the score, and it's halftime, and they're down by 7. And I was like, yeah, deja vu, last 2 games. So they were able to, come back in the third quarter and obviously win the game. And yeah, to your point, Wemby seems to have this infatuation with wanting to be Kevin Durant and shoot threes and, contested mid-range shots when he's 7'4", 7'5". And Cat didn't have a great game, game 3 either. I think he had like 12 points, 8 rebounds, something pretty nominal. So I like him to bounce back tonight. I think that was one of your points. I think we're both in agreement on Knicks winning the series. Most likely in 6, it'd be hard to win, a third game in San Antonio. But yeah, who Jalen Brunson or Karl Anthony Towns or I guess even OG
That
Anunoby.
Yeah, OG Anunoby after the game last night. Unfortunately, they didn't win, so maybe it's discounted a little bit. But I think the front runners, at least for the Knicks, to win the Finals MVP are obviously Jalen Brunson and Cat. This one's a tough one. I think it's like low key 50-50. I know Brunson's kind of like the face of the team, but as far as like what's making everything go for the Knicks right now, specifically in the finals, is Cat. Both defensively first, playing against Wemby, and then offensively just hitting timely shots. And yeah, he's been very efficient up until last game, and they lost last game. So if he has another efficient night and they get the win, unless like barring like a breakout performance from Brunson, like 30 plus with like relatively good shooting splits, I think that you got to give the edge to Cat over the course of the series. Right now, I do think it's like 50-50 on who would win Finals MVP. And I'm actually curious on it, so I'm looking it up on Kalshi. But if I had to guess, if I had to guess, true odds would probably be 50-50 right now, but knowing the bias that everyone has, and it's probably Brunson slightly favored, maybe like 4 or 5 percentage points more than Cat.
Cat's at 16%.
Compared to
Jalen
Jalen Brunson, 48%. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that the Cat is like a major yeah, interesting. I might have to play that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. Like Cat, definitely efficiency-wise, first two games, and just being a pest to Wemby both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. But I mean, game 1, 30 points, game 2, 20 points, game 3, 32 points, and a pretty efficient 32 points, 44% from the field, 60% from 3, 5 and 5 rebounds. I would probably pick Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson, he's averaging 27.3 points, so he's averaging a ton. His shooting has not been great. 37% from the field, just under 32% from 3. Plus minus is minus 4.3. So versus you look at Cat plus 10, he's the highest on the Knicks over the course of the series so far. And sure, he's only averaging almost 16.7 points per game, but he's averaging less than 2 turnovers per game. He's averaging 3 assists, 11 rebounds, so 10 plus rebounds. And he's interesting.
I think it's just a case of even to
50% from the field, 50% from the field. 3-point wise, not the best, but actually better than Brunson, 33%. But that's obviously he's shooting a lot less too. So
yeah, I think it's just a product of best player typically will win the Finals MVP. There are weird scenarios like Andre Iguodala being out Steph. I could point to my team with the Lakers in 2010 when we beat Boston. People argue that Powell should have been Finals MVP, especially with the Game 7 performance he put up and Kobe shooting, I think, 6 for 24 from the field. He did grab 12 rebounds that game, which affected the box score in a different way. But yeah, I mean, you gotta love Karl Anthony.
I will say Jalen Brunson has hit some insane clutch shots at the end. So as far as clutch plays, I do give it to Brunson. But as far as overall MVP, I'm probably gonna put a little money on Cat. Not gonna lie, especially dude, if he has a breakout game, he has a game, he probably won't. But just say he has 25 points, 12 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists, and
I would say
holds Wemby to 20 something points. Don't be surprised.
I would say if you're gonna play it before game 4, and don't hold it to the end. Because if you're gonna hold it to the end, just do it with me. Because
it's just It just depends because, I even, I bet the Knicks at the beginning of the series to win the series, not thinking they were actually going to win, which now they actually are in a really good position to win. And I was just curious, and like after they won game one, and decent, in a decent way, wasn't a blowout, but they held their own for all of the game and ended up winning. The percentage didn't really go up that much. It went up from like what they were 37% up to like 50% or whatever. It just depends on what the numbers are. So if Cat suddenly jumps up to from 18% or 16% to 50%, then sure, that's probably a case where I might cash out. But if it's like it jumps up from 16% to like 30%, I don't know about that.
Yeah, so it's left to be seen. I would probably, I mean, I haven't checked the Kalshi odds just for this series. I assume they're still super favored, right? Not even favored, like super favored, like 60%, right?
What the Knicks? Yeah, 62%, 63%.
Yeah, so I mean, once again, you could get whacked because Carl Cat could win Finals MVP. But if you're confident the Knicks are going to win the series, I'd probably just take Brunson Finals MVP. Like I said that with Shea to win final or conference MVP or maybe even Finals MVP, and obviously that didn't pan out because they lost the Spurs. But this is the last series, so there's not advancing. It's either you win or you don't. So
yeah. All right.
Anything else you want to cover on the finals?
No, that's in the finals. Last few games. Yeah, let's go ahead and head into. Yeah, you want to talk about Sorsby, or I guess I can talk about Sorsby, but Brendan Sorsby, everyone knows him as the guy from Texas Tech who transferred from Cincinnati to Texas Tech. I believe he was the number one rated transfer or quarterback in the transfer portal. He decided to sign with Texas Tech, which makes sense. They needed an upgrade at quarterback. I wouldn't say he's that big of an upgrade compared to, what's the guy from last year? I can't even remember him. That's how much impact he had on the game. But Sawyer Robertson or something, whatever his name. No, maybe I'm talking about the Baylor guy. Anyway, basically, he was kind of a mid quarterback. Some people say he was like a preseason, like in the hunt for the Heisman last season. Played a pretty decent season at Cincinnati. Ended up transferring to Texas Tech, and it was like record. Like I can't remember what he was getting paid, like $8 million or something like that. Huge price tag, and then it came out that he's for the past like 3 or 4 seasons he's been betting, and not only betting, just like random games, which NCAA players aren't allowed to bet at all. He actually bet on his own games while he was, I believe, at Indiana. I can't remember. I definitely know it was at Indiana. I can't remember if he bet on any of his own games when he was at Cincinnati. But he initially was ruled like, all right, yeah, he's gonna not be eligible. They filed for an appeal, of course, just kind of all or nothing. And the initial, I forget what the legal term is, but essentially they gave him initially the ability to be eligible this season. He's currently in rehab for the past month or so, and he has to continue rehab. And then he's only going to miss the first 2 games of the season, which are very conveniently against like Abilene Christian and like I believe Oregon State. And they already have a super cupcake schedule this next season anyway, and he can then be eligible to play the rest of the season. I will say the NCAA, like clearly, if you've been on social media the past couple days, has issued their statement on it, and they're very disappointed, and they're probably gonna file an appeal, so it's gonna get sent back to appeals court. But according to the staff that is in appeals court, and obviously this is just the nature of like where it's taking place. It just happens to be taking place in like West Texas because that's like where it's getting filed and stuff. All the judges on the appeals court are Texas Tech alumni. So just saying, it is what it is. You can make your own conclusions, but yeah, it's essentially the world against Texas Tech. And I don't know if this happened to BYU. I don't know how I'd necessarily react. I'd be kind of like, hey, it is what it is. I'm not necessarily supporting the guy, but if they ruled that he's eligible, then like sure, I guess we'll like let him play. But I guess it's similar to the Retzlaff thing, except obviously he broke the honor code, so BYU is going to suspend him pretty much the whole season anyway. So I don't know. What's your reaction to this? I assume it's probably similar to like myself. If you're betting on the game, like, and you rule this guy eligible to play, it literally destroys the whole integrity of the game. In that case, like all these players can just be betting on whatever, and it doesn't matter, in my opinion. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of just shows where our society is going. And we have a friend who, likes to wager on mainly just NFL and his Cowboys. Just talks about, oh, how could you use Cowshy? It's just nothing, full of degenerates. And there's a case can be made for and against it. I mean, how different is it from trading options in the stock market? That's my logic, but this is just not even for me a gray area. It's extremely black and white. And I mean, it's before both of our times, but Pete Rose, disgraced MLB should be Hall of Fame, but isn't in because he was placing bets when he played for, I believe, the Philadelphia Phillies way back when. I think he's the all-time leader in hits, and just a big black eye for baseball. I mean, Barry Bonds, all-time home run king, also probably won't be in the Hall of Fame. Wasn't cheating, obviously, but just, yeah. If we're allowing him, the case that's being made for him is that, it's a disease, gambling addiction, and that if he doesn't play, it will do more damage to him by not playing psychologically. So it's just our world's getting more and more crazy and kind of more and more soft. Like, he knows he was gambling on his own team. He knows that's not allowed. I mean, this is beyond Reggie Bush or Cam Newton receiving improper benefits. Like, that was happening everywhere. Those are the only guys that got caught. And now it's all out in the open. You can get paid obscene amounts of money to be a college athlete. So I saw reports saying Big 12 ADs are hesitant or thinking about not playing them. The reality is they won't, because they're not going to miss out on that money, and then they might even have to forfeit if they choose not to play Texas Tech. But I'm really curious to see how this all shakes out, because if he goes away scot-free and Texas Tech has a good season like they had last season, winning the Big 12 and being a top 4 seed in the college football playoff, like how much worse it's setting a precedent for a really bad situation.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually was talking with another group of friends that like we always share these like breaking stories or whatnot. And obviously I'm on top of my stuff. And I sent it out. It's like, is this the most blatantly like guilty verdict that actually got overruled since like OJ or something? Obviously, it's a bit stretch. Like one is gambling, one is murder. Like murder is way worse, but still. And I asked them, I was like, is it feasible at all that like possibly like anyone who has Texas Tech on their schedule to possibly boycott them and like not play? And they were saying no. It's like there's too much money wrapped around like. They would have to like you said, they would probably have to forfeit the win and loss. But on top of that, there's probably a clause. It's like if you don't play the game, you pay X amount. So they're gonna have to get paid out on all those games that they don't play. But I think what could happen, and definitely could happen, is a lot of the athletic directors, specifically from the Big Ten, have gotten together and said they will no longer, in all sports, not just football, in all sports, not schedule any games against Texas Tech, which technically I don't think that's like breaking any rules or anything, or any forfeits or having to deal with like losing out on any money from previously scheduled games, because these are future games we're talking about. I think that could definitely be uh, a consequence or result of whether or not Texas Tech like allows Sorsby to play or not. It's like, hey, like maybe in football we can't really do anything to you, but every other sport, like, yeah, we're not going to schedule you, and that puts a ton of pressure on Texas Tech's athletic director, because it's like, are we really going to let this one guy like dictate what happens to all of the rest of our sports? And sure, you can say that's unfair, and it's like it was just the football program or whatever, but ultimately it's the decision that athletic director for Tech is going to have to make, and it could be a very costly decision. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, us and everyone in the sports world, except for Texas Tech fans, are on the same boat. It's like you just can't allow it. Like it shouldn't be a gray area. It's a black and white, and unfortunately, I mean, I get it, what they're trying to do and what Sorsby's trying to do, but at the end of the day, it's like I'm actually very surprised that it got ruled in his favor, and to only be suspended. It's one thing if it's like suspended half the season, 2 games. There are players that get targeting calls that are suspended 1 total game, and then you're just only adding another game on top of that. I think that's pretty wild for betting on your own game.
Yeah, for sure. So really interesting story to track. BYU does not play Texas Tech during the season, which they're probably grateful for
Yeah.
both the fact that we lost them twice last year and then this whole scenario. But yeah, I'm somewhat hoping that they kind of just do bad just to teach them a lesson, I guess. Obviously, they didn't know about his, or I would like to think they didn't know about his gambling situation before they offered him his big NIL deal. But yeah, I mean, it's your opportunity to take a stand, and yeah, it definitely hurts your football program. But yeah,
it'll be interesting because I think either way, it's a lose-lose for Texas Tech. Because if you play him, great, you have your quarterback. Your probably original deal is still valid, because technically both sides signed on the dotted line. I don't know if necessarily what he's going on right now, technically, if he's eligible, like if that changes anything in the contract or not. But potentially, if they do take a stand, they might be out definitely a certain amount of money, depending on, because I'm sure Sorsby's lawyers and Sorsby's side would be like, well, we signed a contract, so if you back out of it, then you owe me the money or something.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, like, if you were the AD, would you just suspend him? But I feel like it's just like other stuff, whether it's teams negotiating with free agents, specifically like in the NBA in bad faith, or I guess even the NFL with as recent as Max Crosby. I think that whole situation hurt the Baltimore Ravens' potential to sign free agents in the future. But you just kind of just put it in the lawmakers' hands, and if they rule him eligible, you let him play. You don't throw a suspension on when he wasn't suspended by outside sources. So I guess I answered my own question, but yeah, crazy news, and just we're getting a lot closer to college football and NFL football, so it's exciting.
Yep, we're less than 100 days from college football starting. All right, let's head into a little bit of tennis. I'm trying to get a little bit more into it. I did not watch the final for Roland Garros, but Spencer will go into that, and then also leading up to French Open, which I believe is happening pretty soon, right?
Yeah, so Roland Garros is French Open. Wimbledon, which is the English Open, is happening at the end of the month. Yeah, Roland Garros, aka French Open, was the conclusion of the clay season. Wimbledon is the conclusion of grass season. Grass season's super short, just I guess a few weeks. But yeah, what a tournament. I think I told Mike I like to occasionally do these big conviction bets and I was pretty convicted when Carlos Alcaraz, the former number 1, currently number 2 player in the world, got ruled out of Roland Garros. Spoiler alert, he's also been ruled out of Wimbledon. But he got ruled out of Roland Garros, and Jannik Sinner obviously is the current number 1 player in the world, and this was his last major to complete the career Grand Slam without Alcaraz in the picture, defending, or just until last Sunday, two-time defending Roland Garros champion, out, and just considering how he'd been on a 30-match win streak, I was pretty confident that Jannik Sinner was going to win, but the odds got a little bit too steep for my liking. And I was like, yeah, I'll just play him, game to game, depending on the odds. Played him in game 1 on like a minus 8.5 games that cashed. And then in round 2, his second round match was against Juan Manuel Cerundolo. Fun fact, there are 2 Cerundolos, and they are brothers that are in the top 100 tennis players in the world. This is the lesser Cerundolo. He's probably ranked around 50. And he was cruising in the second match, up 2 sets, and I think he was up 5-1 in the third set. And there are only 2 people or 2 things that can beat Jannik Sinner: Carlos Alcaraz and the heat. And he was playing the first game of the day. They said it wasn't super hot, but he had been playing tournaments nonstop, winning all of them. And I think the combination of the heat and just exhaustion got to him, and his body just failed him. I remember waking up that morning, and I was planning on waking up for the match, but these matches start at like 2 a.m., so my body didn't get up that early. But I woke up and I saw that it was in the maybe 4th set, and he was like 35% chance to win. And I was like, what is going on? So I turn it on and see that he can barely move. And unfortunately, he did lose in the second round. Probably the biggest underdog upset in sports betting history, both live and pre-match. Probably more especially live, because I think Cerundolo was like plus 10,000 to win, because he really just needed one more game in the third set to win the match and get out of the sun. And I don't know, part of me is just like, was there some Vegas call that you couldn't win one game and the match would be over? But that kind of epitomizes the tournament. I think I was telling Mike, you got to watch it, because it was an absolutely insane tournament. Once he got out, the entire draw realized, wow, we have a chance to win Roland Garros. Carlos is out and Jannik are out. Then sure enough, Novak, who's one Grand Slam away from breaking the record for most men's Grand Slams ever, loses in the third round to I believe 19-year-old Joao Fonseca in 5 sets. If you can watch highlights of one match, I'd probably suggest that one, Mike. But yeah, crazy upsets throughout the tournament. I think Ben Shelton, the number 1, or I think it's the second. He got knocked out first round, as well as Taylor Fritz, but Taylor Fritz has been dealing with injuries. He got knocked out first round, so just upset city. I think I was looking at the stats, and Google AI tends to lie, but I'm seeing 33 5-set matches during the tournament. The first week was absolutely insane, just tons of great matches. Second week was not as good as the first week, but ultimately ended with Alexander Zverev beating Francisco Cobolli in 5 sets to win Roland Garros in his first Grand Slam final.
And when you talk about Grand Slam, is it similar to golf, where it's like basically just like win all of the majors?
Yeah, so a Grand Slam, there's 4 Grand Slams a year. So like the career Grand Slam would be winning all 4.
Okay.
So that means
getting a Grand Slam is literally just winning one of the majors.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Grand Slam tournament, and then the career Grand Slam is winning all 4, and that's what Carlos Alcaraz did at the Australian Open in January. Youngest person ever to achieve that feat.
Mm-hmm. well, hopefully he's healthy. Probably not going to play Wimbledon. We'll see if he plays.
No, he's been ruled out Wimbledon.
Yeah, U.S.
But
Open because we'll be there.
yes, my fingers are super crossed for that. But yeah, I mean, tune in to Wimbledon. Starts at the end of June, and it'll be interesting to see where they're pricing Yannick Sinner, just because his second round exit. And yeah, if he ever gets placed on a morning game ever again, because Carlos Alcaraz and the Heat are the two people that can beat him, and Novak on a good day. But seems like his better days are behind him.
Interesting. Bold statement for Yannick Sinner.
I mean, Father Time's undefeated, and he's 39. He was up 2 sets.
Oh, okay. He's 39. Yeah.
Yeah, he was up 2 sets against Joao Fonseca, and he's more than double his age. And he kind of just ran out of gas. So, yeah, I'm trying to get Mike into tennis. Like, they're long matches.
I do want to get more into it. There's just too much going on. And then my like normal work and stuff. Like once I go full time,
when we go to the U.S. Open and you watch a game, which I keep calling it a game, a match live. I haven't been either, so maybe it's better on television.
No, I've watched. So like I watched the Funde or whatever his name is lose to the Italian guy at the gym. I was watching that.
Oh, Tiafoe, yeah.
Tiafoe, yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy match. That was a crazy match too.
Yeah, because up in the stands you had our guy AJ Debonsa, future #1 pick. He was at the match watching him because I think they're both Nigerian. So
yeah, most definitely. But yeah, incredible tournament, and yeah, excited for Wimbledon. Hopefully, it gives as many good matches as the French Open did.
All right, let's go ahead and hop into World Cup now, and then we'll end with Freedom 250. So, Spencer, if you want to pull up the grouping. Actually, first of all, before we start on the grouping, I wanted to share something. I thought it's so funny, just because everyone knows that the FIFA World Cup is in the Americas, as people say it, but the U.S., North America, U.S., Canada, and Mexico. So it's spread out throughout those 3 countries. And this is the first time that a lot of people are coming and experiencing, from our perspective, like the U.S., And typically when foreigners, if you ask any foreigner if they've been to the U.S., if they have, then it's like typically they've been to L.A., they've been to New York, they've been to like Miami or something. But when has a European person or anyone from outside of the U.S. been to like Atlanta, Georgia, or wherever? Like where's Auburn at? Like some place in
Alabama,
like Alabama, like Birmingham, Alabama. Like people outside of the states do not visit places like that. So there's this guy. He's kind of going famous on Twitter right now. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay. Cool. And he's literally like, "We're going to the World Cup." There's this guy from Germany and his family, I believe, and he shows up. First stop is in Atlanta, and you just like look at that stadium. What an effing stadium! And then his tweets are just so funny. It's just him experiencing like what we'd consider
what
like
day to day,
day-to-day American life. Yeah, and he's like, not gonna lie, riding the metro in Atlanta is a bit scary. If you guys are going to the game, I'd probably recommend getting an Uber instead. He falls in, it's like a GTA lobby. One person next to us taking off his shirt and declaring war on Donald Trump, while another person is moonwalking across the platform. It's like, oh man. And then him, it's like the Holy Land. He pulls up to this random Taco Bell in like Alabama. I assume he's still in Alabama or Georgia or wherever.
No, he's Georgia. That's Martin Luther King Memorial up on the next tweet.
Okay, he visits MLK Memorial, and then he's like, WTF is this crazy thing.
That's Stone Mountain in Georgia.
I honestly don't even know what that is. He like climbed on top of that, and then they're driving. He hits up Walmart, just that typical Walmart in the middle of Georgia somewhere. Goes through Gainesville. Um, where else? Oh yeah, this one was hilarious. He's like, I just had our first Waffle House experience at 1 a.m. Great food, great prices, and friendly staff. 10 out of 10. We will be coming back. Yeah, like Europeans have never experienced a Waffle House before. Um, yeah, super crazy. And then they're just at some hotel, like eating like uh the continental breakfast, just like cereal and like bagels. What else? There's like one other thing hit up. Oh, this is pretty funny. We have these soda machines where you can like specifically pick what flavor you want, and there's like a million different flavors. He's like, this is overwhelming me right now with all these different flavors. It's just stuff like that, and just like he's in Tennessee, he's like going to Chili's and
Chili's
stuff.
and NBA
Yeah,
Finals.
yeah. It's just so funny. I'll end it there, but it's just them experiencing like a normal American day-to-day life is hilarious to see because like I said, when most people travel to the US from a foreign country, they're hitting up like LA or New York or Miami or these big iconic cities, and that's not like average like American life. So them just like going to the middle of nowhere like Alabama and Georgia and having Waffle House is hilarious. I thought that was really funny. Like the European mind cannot comprehend what's going on. Oh, and then they're playing a lot of these before the matches start tomorrow. They've been playing a lot of exhibition matches in these college football stadiums. And he saw I believe it was in Auburn, the Auburn Stadium. He's like, this stadium is effing insane. And it's funny because it's true. These like college football stadiums are massive. They hold tens, if not close to 100,000 people, and they're literally in the middle of nowhere. Like, where else in the world are you gonna find stadiums tens of thousands of people can fit in that are like in the middle of nowhere, like Georgia or Alabama? Like, you're not gonna find that in any other country.
Yeah, the European mind cannot comprehend the United States of America. I think I saw one, just to wrap it up, of where were they practicing? They were practicing somewhere hot. I don't know if it was Florida or someplace superhuman. Might have been Atlanta, Florida, or maybe even DC. They were showing like the English team practicing, and they were just drenched in sweat. And they're like, "Yeah, the second time they've had trouble on American soil, shouting out the American Revolution."
Yeah, like they can't handle the heat. So that's also a really big thing. I was watching this guy talking about like betting sports or betting the World Cup. You have to take this into account too. It's like whether the stadium is open air or it's closed roof. Uh, a lot of these South American teams, Latin American teams, might have a little bit of an advantage. They come from a hotter climate versus these European teams. They're typically they play typically pretty like timid climates. They're not playing in the summer a whole lot in the heat of the Midwest or wherever they're playing at. So that's something to keep an eye on. But let's go ahead and go through these group stages. I think my family might be coming back pretty soon, so I might have to wrap up soon.
Yeah, I mean, I have it
Yeah,
shared. I don't know if you can pop it in. Yeah, we could rapid fire this because what are there? 12 different groups, and the top 2 seeds get in, as well as 8 of the 12.
The top 8. The top 8 3 seeds.
Yeah, exactly. So of the 3 seeds, 8 out of the 12 will advance. So we'll go through Group A, Group B. I think Mexico's going to get in. I probably would pick, shout out to South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just do all chalk. And honestly, I don't really know anything about the South Korean team. I know Mexico's goalie, who's like going to play his 6th World Cup. He's kind of just playing because their other goalie got hurt. I see them advancing. We can just go back and forth. You can do Group B, and we'll just
definitely Mexico. Playing on their home turf, they have the advantage. South Korea is always pretty good. They have a lot of good Korean players. Half of them are named Song or Kim, so you're going to see a lot of them. They're probably going to play like a BTS song for their national anthem, if you've seen that meme. But yeah, I agree with you. Mexico, South Korea.
Okay, Group B. Canada, I know they're missing a lot of players, but similar to Mexico on their home soil. Canada and I'd probably say Qatar is last place, but it's a toss-up between Switzerland and Bosnia Herzegovina. Couldn't really tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about Bosnia, like at all. I couldn't name a single player on their team. Switzerland, I know European teams are really good. Yeah, Qatar, I'd probably say finishes last. Like Qatar, I mean, we saw that in the last World Cup. I'm surprised they even qualified, but yeah, Qatar is pretty buns.
Yeah, they hosted, so they automatically get in. But well, yeah, we'll just keep it going. Group C, Brazil is pretty much a lock, and I'd probably say Morocco as well. They have, I believe, Hakimi, and I think the last World Cup, granted 4 years ago, I believe they made it to the semifinals. So I have a pretty good squad. So I feel like those two teams should have the auto bid.
Yeah, agree.
Group D, USA. If we don't get out of the group stage and Mexico and Canada get out, I think it's going to be a real big slap in the face to the U.S. We did play a friendly, I believe, this last weekend against Germany, and we only lost 2-1. Germany is, a top 5 country in soccer. So I like the U.S. to advance, and yeah, shout out to my Paraguay. I'm going to pick Paraguay for you non-Spanish speakers to advance too. Although you can't sleep on, this is a pretty good group.
Yeah, it's a pretty good group. So U.S. even for a hosting country, like they didn't get that easy of a group.
For sure. All right, Group E. Can go ahead and lock Germany in there. I would probably drop Caraco down to 4th, and don't sleep on the Ivory Coast. But shout out to my Latinas. I'm gonna pick Ecuador, and
I'd agree. I know Ivory Coast is a for any of those people that play FIFA, Ivory Coast is an awesome team to play because they're all just freaking fast, and then you just do a through ball, and then that's how you win because they're just freaking fast. But yeah, I would agree with you, Ecuador. Ivory Coast, don't be surprised if they sneak in, especially they could be one of those top 3 seeds or 3
For sure.
place in the group.
All right, Group F. We could probably just move Japan up to the top, right? I believe last World Cup they won their group.
Yeah,
and there was a big story because their fans would clean up the stadium when the game was over. Once again, just Japanese people a tier above most other races.
Yeah, and I'll even touch on this because they're playing their first match against the Netherlands this Sunday, and I'll actually still be in the Dallas area. They're playing at AT&T Stadium, and I was like, let me just see what the ticket prices are looking like. And I looked at them. This was a note on what we're going to talk about. Oh my gosh, for the tickets, price is disgusting. The get-in price is like $1,200. And that's for like 400 level seats. And I know it's AT&T Stadium. You're probably going to watch the screen anyway, but $1,200 just to get in.
Ugh. Yeah, and I mean, there's a chance of it being like a 0-0, 1-1 game. So
yeah,
unless you're a diehard soccer fan, I probably would just stay away. But yeah, I like both of the top seeds, Netherlands and Japan, to advance. Yeah. I don't know if you have any objections to that.
No. I mean, you never know. Yeah, I think Japan will advance too. But Sweden, you never know. Those Nordic countries. But yeah, I agree with you.
All right, Group G, Belgium. They were once titled the Golden Age, and that Golden Age never won anything. I'd probably pick them to win the group. Egypt has Mo Salah, who I believe is still on Liverpool. Iran being the top 20 or the 20th best team in the world, surprising. Once again, not a huge soccer fan, but let me just go with my guy Mo Salah to advance as the 2nd seed.
Yeah, I think Iran, especially with kind of everything's going on right now, they could surprise everyone. And I know because they're not playing in the U.S., I believe, because we kind of like made them not play in the U.S. So you never know. They can make a statement and jump in, and I don't think they can win the group, but they could be a sneaky to play 2nd.
All right, and this one's pretty easy. Spain, I think, if not has the highest odds, might be the second highest odds to win it all. Would be an absolute shock. Center level shock if they were not to advance, let alone win their group stage. But I got Spain and Uruguay to advance.
Okay, I was about to say, no way you have Cape Verde.
No, this
I
is
know
just the
they.
default that they have.
Okay, I was about to say, I know they have some, attractive women, but
All right, keeping it going. Once again, France, similar to Spain, top 1, 2, or 3 seed to win it all. Got Kylian Mbappe, the turtle himself. I see them winning their group. And yeah, I mean, you got to watch out for Norway, but, similar to Ivory Coast, maybe not to their level. I got Senegal advancing as the number 2 seed.
I like it. I like it.
Group G, defending champs Argentina. I think this is a pretty easy group. Got a lot of just I couldn't point out where maybe Austria, but Algeria and Jordan, I couldn't point out on a map where they're located. I know more or less, but I don't know. Austria?
I'd say Algeria. Just I've seen their team kind of be in the mix for stuff, but don't be surprised. I mean, Argentina is like the clear cut favorite, but I saw a stat as like there's only been 2 teams to ever repeat as World Cup champs, and that was like back in like the 50s, I want to say. So and it was like Brazil and some other country. So even
Yeah,
though
and
they
this
are the clear cut favorite, I wouldn't be surprised if obviously they should win their group, but kind of coming off of a super emotional World Cup win, Messi finally kind of establishing himself as the GOAT with that World Cup win. You never know. They could come second. I think they'll still advance, but they might.
yeah, and like you said,
Funny stuff could happen.
this is the new format. Previously, it was 32 teams. Top 2 seeds would advance. So the knockout stage would start with a round of 16. Now they've expanded to 48 with 32 teams advancing to the knockout stage. So a lot of opportunity, and it's just one game. It's not like a Champions League matchup where you have a home and away. So anything could happen. But keeping it moving to Argentina, Group K, my guy CR7. I can't fade him now. I'm gonna take Portugal, and come on, I mean,
Yeah, you got to. You got
just to see some of the fans, like we're gonna keep it moving.
Yes,
We're gonna keep it moving.
very much agree.
And the last group, Group L, England, once again a heavy favorite. Croatia, Ghana. Don't sleep on Ghana. And Panama. I guess Panama's ranked a lot higher.
Yeah, can't sleep on Panama either, but going against
Yeah.
England, Croatia, it's tough.
Yeah, I probably predict. Obviously, I mean, we've pretty much picked all chalk. Don't watch soccer enough to really tell you, because there are situations where, at least for the top 2 seeds, they might obviously still qualify with a wild card. But I think England and Croatia should come out of their groups. And I wish I could go to a bracket.
It's separate though.
Yeah. Make one right now, and then based off of where they finish in the group, depends on where they go in the bracket. It gets intricate, but maybe next week. I don't know if group stage will be finished, but when that group stage gets finished and the round of 32 gets finalized, we can go over that bracket. But early predictions for who's going to win. I can pull up the Kalshi odds if you want.
Yeah, I have the Kalshi odds right now. I think yeah, it's crazy because like you said, I talked about the back-to-back Argentina, number 1 in the world. Obviously they got older. I don't know necessarily if they got any like new players, up and coming players, but they're only 8% to win, and I will not be betting Argentina. So not a chance. Spain right now is leading with 17% to win the World Cup. I think a dark horse. I'd love to say Japan, but out of like the realistic teams, I think just like looking at this list, Germany can make a run. When was the last time Germany, has gone to the World Cup? It's been many years, I think, because Germany at one point used to be the top of the world. They were the best team for a while. So I could see Germany making a resurgence and, you know, claiming back the World Cup again. Oh, did I lose you? I think I lost him real quick. Let's see if I can get him back. His Wi-Fi went out. So we might have to cut it short there. If anything, we'll do a Freedom 250, probably like Friday or Saturday. Um, give me 1 second. See if I can. Oh, okay. He's back. All right. We lost you for a second, but glad to have you back. Yeah, so I think Germany
You pick Germany?
as a dark horse. Well, I don't know if
I
they're
don't know.
necessarily. I don't know if they say a dark horse. So out of like the teams that could make a run, I think Germany could.
Yeah, Kalshi has this whole situation where you can pick who's going to win. They say if you pick the right team, you get a portion of $1 million. I don't know how it works. I picked France. They should have probably went back to back last year. Argentina was up, but it was probably one of the greatest World Cup games ever. Just being down 2-0, Mbappe tying it, and then them ending the game in penalty kicks. Pretty insane. But if it's not France, I hope at the very least, if he doesn't win, that the stars align in their groups where
Portugal.
Messi plays Ronaldo.
Oh, yes, that's what everyone wants to see.
And last year, I think a couple games Ronaldo didn't even start just because he's getting old. But I'd love to see them share the pitch one more time, and because they're just two goats. So yeah, France or Portugal probably be my picks. But don't sleep on Spain. I think Spain is. I think maybe you said it, and I've watched some videos where they say based off of past performances and all these other statistics, coaches being from the country that they're coaching, Spain's the most likely. So maybe I'll sprinkle a little bit on Spain. It's been a while since they've won too.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right. I know you had to jet, so we can just run through this. I don't know. It's not the greatest matchups, but they are awesome fighters. And I'm
you want to share your screen for the matchups?
Yeah.
If you have them.
I believe there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 fights all on the main card, obviously. And we're starting with Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. I honestly, maybe it's my lack of ball knowledge. I don't know who Steve Garcia is, but the odds are pretty tight for this match. We obviously know Diego Lopez has lost. I don't believe back-to-back fights, but back-to-back title fights with arguably the GOAT to the featherweight division, Alexander Volkanovski. Lines are tight. I'm just going to roll with my boy Diego Lopez. Huge fan of him. Has a iron chin, and yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah, I agree with you. Obviously, I love betting based off of reach and age. Obviously, age, Lopez is in the favor. Reach, 2.5 inches shorter than Garcia, but fighting style.
That's huge.
Yeah. 2.5 inches is big. Fighting style, obviously Lopez can fight a little bit more on the ground. It seems like Steve Garcia's fighting style is a striker, so not really much grappling, which Diego Lopez, I think he's had enough experience. Like Volk, he can grapple, which gives like it's like a tougher matchup for Lopez. But Volk, I would say for majority likes to box, So I think Lopez takes this to the ground. I don't think he necessarily submits him by any means, but I think either a KO or he just wins by decision. Yeah,
For
I'm looking
sure.
at this Steve Garcia. I don't really think he's really fought anyone like that prominent. I guess like
Yeah.
Dave. Yeah.
No, Diego
Or at least
Lopez has
anyone.
fought some dogs.
Yeah. And like when your last 2 losses out of your last how many fights? Like last 5 fights have been Volk for the title fight. Like you got to give him the benefit of the doubt on that.
Yeah, I mean the fight before then, he knocked out Gene Silva, who is a bad MFer. So moving forward, once again, another big American favorite, former college wrestling champion, Bo Nickel. And once again, I don't know this Kyle Dawkins guy. Has a pretty good record, 17-4. 3 years the elder at a 1-inch height differential. I hate to just pick, all chalk, but it's hard to go against Bo Nickel. He obviously has fallen from grace, getting knocked out a couple fights ago. I don't know if he's going to submit him, but I do like him to win the fight, or at the very least for the fight to go the distance. So give me Bo Nickel or for the fight to go the distance.
Yeah, I agree. Bo Nickel, you kind of know what you're going to get from Bo Nickel. DeRitter, that fight was an interesting fight. Like Bo Nickel was, I believe, a really very heavy favorite in that fight too. Ended up getting knocked out. But DeRitter was not a guy you could necessarily sleep on. And I would say like the same thing with Kyle Dawkins. Like I don't know what the odds are. I'm not looking at them right now, but I think Bo Nickel obviously is going to probably finish this fight. I probably knock or submit Kyle Dawkins. I don't know necessarily what his fighting style. It looks like Dawkins likes to grapple. He's had several submissions, but I think it's going to be a good fight. It could be closer than a lot of people think. So I wouldn't disagree with you saying Bo Nickel by decision.
All right, keeping it going. One of the fighting nerds, Mauricio Rufy versus the American punching bag, Michael Chandler. I don't see a path to Michael Chandler winning. Maybe he takes some adrenochrome from the Oval Office and just turns back the clock. But got 11 years, the junior, or 11 years older, 3.5-inch reach difference. I got Rufy, and I probably got him knocking out Chandler.
Yeah, Rufy all the way.
But yeah, I mean, it seems pretty easy, these fights. I mean, the last fight is probably the best fight in a toss-up, but it's going to be fun to watch. There's a lot of good fighters, kind of name brand guys. This one got added fairly recently. We got former fullback Josh Hokett versus my balls were hot, so I took off my shorts, Derek Lewis. And I think we talked about it. You got Hokett, right?
Yeah, I think Hokett. But I will say, like, yeah, I'd say Hokett. Honestly, now that I'm looking at it, I thought if Derek Lewis would have had a way better fight last fight, he just got totally gassed. And I don't think his conditioning has changed in the span of a couple months. So yeah, Josh Hokett all the way, and the odds are definitely in his favor. He's minus 382. What I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, I feel like Derek Lewis has to knock him out in the first half of the first round.
Which could happen, but
yeah, but if not,
more unlikely.
Either Hokett wins by knockout or wins by decision, just pieces him up.
He's just Hokett's too fast and too young for him.
All right, next fight, the Sugar Show. Sean O'Malley returns to the octagon versus Ayaman Zahabi. Once again, don't know much about him. Has a pretty good fighting record. But yeah, once again, in a sport where age, and in all sports, but especially in fighting where age is super paramount, you got Sean O'Malley, 7 years younger. What's that, 3.5-inch reach difference? And I don't think the UFC are going to give O'Malley a hard fight because he is one of their biggest box office sellers. So I got O'Malley winning, but possibly going to decision. It's only a three-round fight.
Yeah, I think decision. I mean, I think Sean could knock him out, especially, Sean coming off that kind of somewhat embarrassing title fight against who was it? Who did he lose the title to? It was Marab, yeah. And even the last fight, he won by decision, I believe. This is a good opportunity for Sean to knock him out. But like you said, it's pretty much a lob for him. It's like, hey, here's an easy fight, just win it. So I think the safe bet would be, if you're gonna not just bet, well, money line's pretty insane. It's like minus 300 something. So I would parlay it with a couple other fights. But yeah, by decision, maybe sprinkle in a little bit of by knockout too, just to create buzz around his name, because people have kind of been lacking on him lately, just the way he's been fighting.
Yeah. And it's listed above it, but this is the fight before, it's co-main event, but the second to last fight, the return of El Matador, La Leyenda, I guess his new nickname, Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. And Topuria hasn't fought since he knocked out my guy Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira in the first round. Had a little issue with his former wife that he met in Miami. Never meet your wife in Miami.
Nope.
But he said he's going to knock out Justin in the first round. And I don't know if it's the first round, but he's proven me wrong multiple times. And I think it's Ilia by knockout.
Yeah. I think Ilia has everything to prove. Justin is just kind of like happy to be there, to be honest. But yeah, I think Ilia is going to come back from this. There might be, what he's been going through. It's kind of tough, but I think he's ready. He's had the time to prepare. He has the fight and the drive, especially after what happened with him and his wife. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, styles make fights, but I mean, Max Holloway pieces up Justin Gaethje. Charles Oliveira doesn't piece him up, but just ragdolls Max Holloway. Ilia Topuria knocks both of them out. There's just levels to this, and the UFC will definitely be in shambles if Justin's able to pull off the upset, because the chance of an Islam versus Ilia fight would diminish significantly. But I have to say, all these fights kind of seem chalk. I would be surprised if all of them do end up being chalk because it's fighting. But yeah, something's got to go wrong, or else too many.
Well, we have this next fight that's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, but this one's a toss up. If you're going to put a parlay, do not include this one in the parlay. Or at least if you're doing all the legs, I'd say leave this one out. But the return, possible 3-division champion Alex Poatan Pereira versus Cyril Gane. I believe this is his 4th or 5th title shot, although it is an interim heavyweight title, because Tom Aspinall is still recovering from Gane's eye pokes. But yeah, Pereira seeking to become the first triple champion. One in middleweight, light heavyweight, and now heavyweight. I believe they say he's winning around 258. It's gotten absolutely massive, and a lot of the weight's gone to his bomba, his dumper. But yeah, I really just can't bet against my guy Poatan. I don't really see how this fight can go the distance with 2 heavyweights. So I have Pereira by knockout. Can't really tell you when it's going to happen, but Pereira by knockout.
I could see this going the distance, in my opinion. But obviously they're both going to try to knock each other out. So yeah, you can't bet against Poatan and his Chama.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
And honestly, I'm gonna
Alright.
do a parlay with all the favorites and put freaking Pereira on there. I don't freaking care. Yo, boost those odds, baby.
Yeah, I mean, but if you want to for sure win, I'm gonna roll with him too, and I probably will do the same. But yeah, the other fights might just do a separate one
True,
and put
true,
a
yeah.
little bit more than a unit on that one. Let's just say that. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Poetan's, last fight history, and the only match that went, to decision that was 5 rounds was Ankalaev when he lost the title, and
You just gotta
he had
bet.
a decision. He had his decision win in Utah when I went to that as a light heavyweight, his first light heavyweight fight. Um, but that's it. So I don't know. They call him Poetan because that means stone hands for a reason. And yeah, I just would love to see Cyril Gone get knocked out, but don't sleep on him. But I can't pick him for obvious reasons.
Yeah, you just can't bet. He's like Patrick Mahomes. It's like don't bet on him, but you can't bet against
Yep. All right. Well, it's gonna be a super good weekend. World Cup kicking off tomorrow. NBA Finals tonight. There will be a game 5. That'll be on Saturday, and then wrapping up the weekend, Freedom 250. So
Yep. And go ahead and give this live stream a like and subscribe. It would really helps out the channel. Let us know what stuff we can improve, what we can add. I'm constantly thinking of that stuff. Been recently streaming out to different platforms. Currently, obviously YouTube, Rumble. I don't have my whole streaming gig set up right now, so typically we do Instagram Live as well. But would really appreciate that, and follow us on our socials as well. You can follow me, obviously our Instagram, Boys But Ball, but you can also follow me on Pick and X at Nico_Riggs, and we need to convince Spencer to get an X eventually too.
yeah, seeing all those tweets. I mean, I'm already addicted to my phone, so that might be the nail
And
in.
I just get news super fast, like Adam Scheffner and
Yeah, I know. You're
Tom.
always
Like
sending me like,
I have the alerts, so whenever something happens, the Sorsby thing immediately happens. Like you get the information fast as there. Even ESPN is slow on that.
yeah, you'll send me like Ravens or some like clue text, and I'm like, what? And then like 2 minutes later, I get the notification. So
Yep.
we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, everyone enjoy the weekend. As Mike would say, let's make some money, and we'll see you next week.
Knicks in 6. Knicks in 6. Let's go.